So a customer sent in this 10-inch GE and wants a complete restoration on it. This is going to be a pretty comprehensive service, and I'm going to go through and recap the piece. This isn't going to be a simple repair, but instead, usually what I do to tackle a job like this is I go through, change all the caps, and if there's any troubleshooting to be had after the fact, then I'll go ahead and do that. It's the only real sensible way to proceed when somebody actually wants a set that's going to be reliable. So here's the chassis. I don't know what shape this CRT is in yet, but it's the original GE 10FP4, and in case you're not familiar with the 10FP4, you may have heard of the 10BP4, but the 10FP4 is GE's aluminized version of the BP4. And of course, with the aluminized picture tube, you had a brighter picture and you had no need for an ion trap here on the back. So with any luck, this tube is pretty good one, so it'll be good, hopefully. So I'm going to pull up the chassis in just a second. There's the cabinet that it goes in right there. So, well, it's a little rough, but customer's going to tackle that himself, so we'll just worry about this chassis for now. Here's the underside of the GE chassis. It's completely bone stock original, and it's got the original selenium rectifiers in it, and those are going to be bypassed with something more reliable and safe. And all these wax caps have got to go here. These and the infamous Black Beauties, those are always bad. I don't care what anybody says, if you're an audiophile or what. Those are just the worst capacitors in existence in the universe, maybe. And there's another one hiding under there. So get cracking on that. Let's get this picture tube checked so we have an idea whether it needs a CRT or not. But this thing here is, I'm not holding out hope. That grid right there, that rearmost portion of the gun, let's see if this is going to come out. It's pretty blued. It's just doesn't look good. Generally, when you see a tube and it's got that blued grid in it like that, it means it's a very high hour and it's probably not going to be very good. So let's hook up the tester and see what it looks like. Okay, let me hook this thing up here. Go ahead and do that. I've already got the unit plugged in, and turn the filament voltage down. Okay. Yeah, the customer said that whomever he bought this TV set from said it needed a picture tube, but we'll just double check. Okay. Okay, we've got filament. We're watching the green gun here. It is not looking good. I'm going to hold out hope. I think sometimes these tubes just fall asleep. I'm going to let it cook here at 6 volts for a couple of minutes, and we'll come back and see what it looks like. Well, it's been about 10 minutes, and I'm not real impressed with this thing. It's got some emission, but if I bump this thing up to 8 volts, which is about what it would be at if we were to put a brightener on it, it is just, you know what, it's just tired. I don't think we're going to get any kind of satisfactory picture out of it. It's still creeping, but yeah, a new CRT checks about 0.8, 0.825. So I just don't think this thing's going to be suitable. Then we go for broke here. Yeah, 10 volts on a 6 volt filament. Hey, look at that. That's usable. Yeah, okay, well, we'll just replace that. We'll call it dead. Bring this back down, and yeah, not a chance. Okay, so we'll write that off. A little bit of progress on this now. Swapped out a couple of caps already. It's interesting to note about this chassis is that, you know, the GE. If you've ever seen the GE locomotive set, which is like it's a Bakelite, kind of a streamlined Art Deco set. It uses the same chassis as this, and it's designed much in the same way. And what I find interesting about this is the way that GE put these boards in here, these terminal strip boards in here to take advantage of well, to make the most out of the limited amount of space here. But look at how these things are mounted and just about wrapped around the back side of the board. It's kind of interesting. This thing here, it's 0.20 at looks like 200 volts. And this came off of that terminal right there. So I've got a bunch of these 630 volt jobbers. I don't think that's really what we need. And let's check the cabinet. I got some 400 volt units. Looks like one left. Yep. Okay. Well, I'll have to default to the 630 volt units because I'm out of these 400s. I'll go ahead and pop that in there.